Welcome back, friends. Today, we continue our journey through The Richest Man Who Ever Lived book by Stephen Scott, exploring the timeless wisdom of King Solomon. In this video, we tackle one of the most destructive forces in relationships, anger. Stephen Scott tells a story of how his community was once shocked by the news of a senseless tragedy. A 23-year-old woman was killed by her enraged ex-boyfriend. Similar incidents, although not always as extreme, occur daily, affecting countless relationships. Anger can escalate rapidly, causing irreparable harm. Stephen shares another example of a young woman whose husband, usually calm and composed, pinned her to the ground in a moment of uncontrollable anger. These men didn't wake up intending to commit such acts. Yet, as Solomon wisely says, a quick-tempered man acts foolishly. Solomon likens anger to a flood, outrageous and overwhelming. Just like a flood, anger can start small and then surge out of control, destroying everything in its path. It's essential to recognize the potential severity of even a little temper. Unchecked anger can ruin personal happiness and relationships. Dr. Gary Smalley identifies anger as the #1 cause of divorce. Solomon further advises against associating at all with easily angered individuals. Such relationships are fraught with conflict and often end disastrously. However, controlling your temper brings great rewards. Solomon teaches that he who is slow to anger has great understanding, as by staying calm, you maintain objectivity and can find solutions others might miss. This control leads to greater accomplishments and happier relationships. To deal with anger effectively, we must address its root causes: unresolved hurt, frustrations, fear, etc. Dr. Gary Smalley suggests that these root causes stem from unmet expectations. By managing our emotions, we prevent anger from building up and exploding later. Our expectations play a significant role in our emotional health. When we are young, our expectations are often met by those around us, parents, teachers, and friends, and so on. But as we grow older, life becomes more complex, and our expectations are not always met. Learning to manage and adjust our expectations is vital to maintaining emotional balance. Solomon's wisdom teaches us to temper our expectations and practice patience. Dr. Gary Smalley uses a powerful metaphor to describe how we handle anger. He says, "We all carry an anger cup in our hearts, filled with our stored-up reserve of liquid anger. For some, this cup is full to the brim, ready to overflow with even the slightest irritation. This can lead to outbursts, emotional withdrawal, or even physical attacks. Others have cups that are almost empty, able to handle irritations without it spilling over." It's important to ask ourselves, how full is our anger cup? Whether it's full, 3/4 full, or nearly empty, we must focus on what we can do to drain it completely and keep it empty. To overcome anger, it's essential to release those who hurt us from future expectations. True forgiveness involves overlooking transgressions, as Solomon says in Proverbs. This doesn't mean forgetting, but it's choosing to move beyond the hurt and not letting it dictate our future interactions. In chapter 12, Stephen Scott discusses the concept of naivety and how it can sabotage our success. Solomon's wisdom teaches us to look well into a matter, to avoid falling into traps that can derail our progress. Stephen shares the stories of two brilliant investors, Philo Farnsworth and Edwin Armstrong. Despite their genius and groundbreaking contributions to mass communication, both men suffered greatly due to their naivety. Farnsworth invented the television, and Armstrong developed the frequency modulation for sound amplification, yet neither profited substantially from their inventions. Farnsworth and Armstrong were betrayed by those they trusted. Farnsworth, naively believing in honor among men of science, shared key components of his invention with a competing scientist who then stole his technology. Armstrong faced similar betrayal and financial ruin, leading to his tragic end. Naivety isn't about intelligence, it's about how we approach situations. Solomon warns us in Proverbs, "The naive believe everything, but a wise man looks well into a matter." This means we must avoid oversimplification, misplaced trust, superficial judgments, laziness, haste, narrow vision, misplaced integrity, arrogance, and wrong priorities. So here's Solomon's solution, which is very simple. Look well into the matter. Perform due diligence and seek wise counsel. Proverbs says, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. Surround yourself with wise advisors and take the time to thoroughly evaluate decisions. To avoid naivety, choose your friends and associate wisely. Be sensitive to red flags, and don't let haste or pressure lead you into poor decisions. As Solomon advises, he that walks with wise men shall become wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Thank you, friends, for joining us as we explore the wisdom of King Solomon through the Richest Man Who Ever Lived book. See you in the next episode.